Back to the book, we could have alleviated some of the confusion if our walkie-talkies had worked as advertised. The handheld two-way radios were supposed to transmit and receive up to a mile in distance. We found that they rarely functioned over 100 yards, never over uneven terrain. We carried them because they were all we had, but we had little faith in them. Instead, just like frontline military leadership throughout history, we relied on line-of-sight communications, arm and hand signals, and we sent runners back and forth. In those first 5 days of combat, I learned to stay visible, and I learned the value of a good runner. The North Koreans used whistles and bugles for battlefield command, more effective by far than our walkie-talkies. And I'm a huge proponent of verbal commands. And I think Leif's told this story a bunch of times where I was telling him, he's trying to tell his guys what to do over the radio, and I said, hey, Leif, give them verbal commands. And because when guys are when you're working, there's this weird, everyone's talking on the radio and it turns into white noise. And so they're not responding. But when you give a verbal command in the SEAL teams, in the military, you get trained that if I tell Echo, peel right, when you hear that, your instinct and your training tells you to repeat that command. So you're going to repeat it to the next person. When they hear it, they're going to repeat it. So everyone repeats the verbal command.
So when you say verbal command, that's like off the radio. Like
it's yelling.
Gotcha.
It's yelling. It's talking, but in all actuality, it's yelling.
Yeah.
It's yelling. And so the radios just sometimes, and our radios are infinitely better than these radios. And even while I was in, the radios made vast improvements. And by the time I retired, the radios were pretty damn good. But there are times if the radio is not working, you got to go with the verbal commands. And that's why you got to train. You got to train for the verbal. Train without radios a bunch. I always tell guys, take the radios off. Make sure you can do it without the radios. How's it going to go if their communication net goes down? You got to have that backup communication plan all the time.